So people are going to say, don't you see the problem that your argument creates? Read my book, Comeback of the Century, the things that I talk about. A lot of great things in there, by the way, but especially when it comes to, well, what do we do about the problem that SSI is not going to be enough for me? We need to have me given cush job hookup, and it needs to be what some people would say. I need, is what I call it, income incommensurate with my actual ability to produce or my actual contribution to society and the economy, because my needs are greater
Please hold on to handrails
what everybody else's are, and yet I can only give so much little compared to what everybody else can give, but I need that money. Now, before anyone says anything about that's fraud or that's communism, it's neither. It's, you can set your own price tag and ask for it, and that's what this book is. You can go, give me property, give me property, give me property, and you call it communism if you want. Jesus didn't like either. You can call it what you want. I don't know, but this is, I think that's the ultimate capitalism. You're going to set your own price tag. How did Donald Trump get that rich? I mean, some people really contributed a lot of value, so they say, but they set their own price tag. Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, these people that are tech, Jeff Bezos, he was quoted out a website. It's a website that Pierre Omidyar in Hawaii that, owns his Rolex Civil Beat over there. That's how he's got his name on the welfare buildings, like Air Engine at Weinberg for everybody. But that's not enough for me. It was a website. The thing's a website. What? It's code. And a lot of people can replicate that code. Okay, he's got a trademark. It's eBay. So, I mean, it's only valued, it only has enough value as to what it really is. So he created this infrastructure. Now for Jeff Bezos, you got to give it to him. He got into real estate. And you can see Amazon distribution centers everywhere, all across the American Southwest, and now in Hawaii they've got their delivery center. They want to build another one, but there's a delivery center on Oʻahu, on Sand Island. Think about it. I was talking about it over there. I'm going to say it again. Who can just up and move to Hawaii? I wouldn't want to. There's a lot of reasons why I don't like it. Even people here to say San Diego, and $700,000 or $1 million homes here. These homes are $1 million homes too. Coastal real estate. They can't just say, I'm going to move to Hawaii, because they have mortgages. They got $1 million mortgages. They got jobs. They're rooted here. But unless they're very, very, very rich and can just go buy property there and still work here and then call it a second home and rent that one out or whatever they want to do. But they're not. Jeff Bezos bought, what is it? I'll put the link into, I don't know how much he paid for it exactly off the top of my head, but it's a lot of money. It's Hawaii. This is acres and acres and acres. Near the 108, the massive shipyard for Matson on Sand Island. He didn't just buy a house, not even in Lani Kai, not even in Hawaii Kai, let alone just some condo in central Oʻahu or a townhome that you can get for under $1 million or high rise in, let's say, Salt Lake over there. He buys acres and acres and acres of industrial property and built up a massive distribution center where all these gray Amazon vans, just like everywhere in the country, the Prime vans, they're driving all around Oʻahu. They're coming from that place. And it's going to be very near the shipyard too. There's a lot of things they're going to be able to do with that. They're building a new dock there in the port of Honolulu. But it's just one, that's just one of his properties that happens to be in Hawaii. They're here, they're all across all of America, all of the world, Amazon Prime. So now you can't say this is one of these Warren Buffett ventures. You can't say this is one of these. Okay, there's all these complex things like sale leaseback and things that are derivatives of that, where he's technically leasing one of his entities and he's going to lease it back to himself. But where you can still say, okay, it's still Warren Buffett. It's still Warren. No. He owns real estate like Donald Trump. This is a lot of real estate. And the greatest example, of course, is Walmart. Sam Walton, they own the real estate. This isn't they're leasing it from someone. They own the real estate. So in most cases, they're not leasing it. So there's some places they're like neighborhood markets where they're in commercial centers. But for the most part, they own the land underneath the buildings and they bought them. And it's whatever works for them. But the most crucial thing, what I want to talk about is, so yes, I'm saying that they need to get rid of welfare completely, and they need to replace welfare and people that are SSI and people that are, and then most of the people that are getting that, what it was originally created for was for the blind, but now psychologists and psychiatrists have hooked up 10% of America's population with medication and disability, and they got their pathways, and you can call them a disability lawyer. They'll hook you up with a psychiatrist to say you need it, so you'll get your disability. But one of the prerequisites for getting your disability, this is always how it is, you're never going to have a case, believe me, where someone says, oh, they were unsuccessful on medication for their schizophrenia or for their autism, they were unsuccessful on medication 100% of the time. What it is that their medication is proving they have the condition. So they're seeing a psychiatrist, they're getting regular reports. There's always, every year I think it is, or whatever the time frame is for SSI to prove that they need SSI. So they're getting their 900, their 900, their 900. That's not enough for me. I don't think that's enough for anyone. How are you going to get on the planes you want to get on? How are you going to do the things you want to do in life? How are you going to buy real estate? You should have control over your empire. And that's me. So it's not enough for me. But I said, we have to get rid of welfare, because welfare creates, just like having a homeless shelter, whether it's a courtyard, whether it's, IHS in Honolulu, on Sumner, whether it's here in San Diego, Father Joe's villages, and I'm talking, they've got tons of properties. What this guy did, they called him the hustler priest, Father Joe. But it's horrible. It's just, it's the same look. It's Catholic outreach stuff, Catholic charity stuff. This is for low IQ people. If you see Father Joe's villages, you see that logo, this is for low IQ people. I don't like being around them, but you know what it is. This is for low IQ people. It's for and look at the special playground for the kids, low IQ people. This is where all the low IQ people are concentrated because they're rejected by society. We allow society to reject them. We don't tell the labor market and the workforce and the private entities that you have no choice but to hire these people, make a place for society, and give them a paycheck. Instead of saying that, we're saying, okay, you have a right because of freedom to not hire them and not give them the paycheck and not let them have money and be able to pay rent and be able to buy property and be able to have a role in society. And so we were going to segregate them from society just by saying, we reject you, we reject you. So they end up in a homeless shelter, which is a concentration camp. And so we have to get rid of homeless shelters, which is the physical manifestation of just the concept of welfare itself. Get rid of it. Get rid of welfare. Get rid of public handout, so that this economy has no choice but to incorporate these people into the workforce and give them more. It's always going to be more. It's going to be a lot better. SSI is not enough. But until that happens, we've got a unique situation. It is the dumping grounds. So how do I avoid being in the dumping grounds? Furthermore, since we can't save the world, and it'd be great if I could save the world, but even then, I think this is the direction we have to take it. But we definitely, since I'm the only one that's going to be doing it, and I guess we have to win that way since nobody else cares about it. But we're not going to do it for everybody else on welfare. We're not going to do it for everybody else that's, has a schizophrenia diagnosis, to take medication that slows them down, to keep them disintegrated puzzle pieces, to prevent them from anything but dreaming when they see beautiful women on the pier in Oceanside, or they're in downtown, anywhere here in San Diego, wherever they're at, you see beautiful women. It should only stay a dream to touch them. And this medication is to keep you, and this is in all of the developed worlds where you have these pensions for people that's what schizophrenia is. The medication causes it, and it's to keep you. I was watching this video of French psychiatric emergency rooms at other places in Europe, and you start to realize, in National Health Service, NHS, National Health Service, that's King Charles, that the Liberal Democrat Party, they really wanted to increase psychiatrists in the schools, and they call it mental unwellness. You're unwell. If you're feeling unwell, they'll refer you to psychiatrists. But that's because they have to have that in the schools, because if someone says, how come in America they don't have to live under a king? You're insane, because you live under a king. And you're not the king. King Charles is the king. And if you have a problem with that, then you're going to take medication to assimilate into a society with a king, because we are not Republicans in the United Kingdom. And this isn't America. Well, maybe they should have a chance to flee the king instead of being medicated. And that's the problem with psychiatric medication generally, and that's kind of why people end up medicated in America. To know I am Donald Trump. No, you're going to take medication, get the psychiatrists out of society, because they're stopping us from having the money we're meant for. You have to have that ego. You have to have that kind of thing. I'm not going to agree to have allowed God to have made that person a separate person from me, because your money is your soul, because it limits your field of view. The more money you have, the wider your field of view in terms of knowledge you can have and the opportunities you have access to. That's my airplane. That's my trophy wife. Look who's fucking your wife now. That's, so there you go. And yes, what I'm arguing for is for the redistribution of wealth to the retarded. And people are going to say, but that's what I'm arguing for. And I have no problem with it. I have no qualms with it because I want all that money. And so what I'm saying is, in lieu of welfare and dumping grounds to allow them to reject these people, well, if you're going to reject these people, then you have to give them Skyscraper.
Next station,